Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Male Soap Opera Moment, the best wrestling podcast. How on earth can I possibly make such a claim? Well, because the guy to the right or left of me, depending on how Zoom defines this recording, is the wrestling encyclopedia, the one, the only, the Vincent Kennedy Bucci.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again for the Male Soap Opera Moments. I am fresh off a crazy weekend. If you saw a little interesting way we did the predictions, it was because Booch took a little trip up to Winston-Salem. Had a little blast up there. We had WrestleCade weekend. I got an unexpected phone call to go, but I'll explain that at the end of the show. So if you want to find out why I went to WrestleCade, what the heck happened, why did I have to cancel a watch party on Twitch, I'll tell you why in a little bit. But right now I'm just excited for this opportunity to talk about Survivor Series where we tied. That's what happened.
Yes, Booch, technically we tied, but according to the rule book here, appendices C, paragraph 9, section 4, it's clearly laid out here. You can read it clear as day. The tie goes to the champion.
Yes.
The incumbent champion. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, until the very least, Royal Rumble, you will be with me and I with you. It's a beautiful companionship. And ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to serving you. I'm a king of servitude. I'm not here to reign over you like previous champions. Sorry, I got this neck thing going on. It makes me lean toward.
You should really see a chiropractor about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I should. But I'm so excited about this, Booch, because this was a really interesting, and I use that word because there were some really great points and there were some very low points.
Yes.
The war games. And generally, Booch, you know, I've been very skeptical about Survivor Series in general. Why? In case you missed it, friends, I don't like pay-per-views where there aren't a number more than 2 of championships on the line. I feel like pay-per-views should be a place where all the championships, if not all, most of them, are up for grabs. Like, that's why we subscribe. That's the only reason, and The Office, that I subscribe to Peacock.
Yeah.
And this is half the reason. But we had some great matches there. Lots of fantastic finishes and storylines that spilled over into Monday Night Raw. We'll get to that if we have time. Booch, I think you're kind of playing the humble card with this whole WrestleCade thing. And who called you? This is a former WWE wrestler, former WCW wrestler.
Yes.
I'm not going to name drop at the beginning, but this isn't some, just one-off event that Booch, headed off to. This is a big deal. So
yeah.
Super cool. So if we get time, we'll make time. Not if, but when, baby. We'll talk about it. But let's go from top to bottom the way that we made these predictions last time.
Yes.
And you have spoken, ladies and gentlemen, about how you want to receive these predictions. And so maybe, Booch, as you said, with these predictions moving forward, we will post them separately. And maybe we get to decide based on your reactions and your engagement, ladies and gentlemen, how we do this moving forward. So make it known. Comment, like, subscribe. We appreciate it. And that also gives us a gauge of how to engage you. So without further ado, the women's War Games match, the longest match of the night by about 1 minute and 10 seconds. This match was crazy. It was nuts. It was an absolute, there's so much that happened. I don't want to talk about all the spots. Hey, do you remember when the double leg drop? And okay, cool. It was great. That's fine. And it was exciting. But I think there's a bigger story here. And that's the demise of Damage Control. And it's a really weird kind of demise because they started out really, really hot at SummerSlam. And all of a sudden they've taken quite a steep fall, Booch. But that was a match that we both predicted correctly. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, this is one we both predicted correctly. We predicted that Team Belair was going to win this match. And I will say this, it was the longest match of the night. And in my opinion, and based on everything I saw, overall, this was a fantastic pay-per-view with a lot of stellar matches. There was only one match that I thought was terrible.
Oh,
And it was this.
don't say it. Don't say it yet, because I think I know, and I don't know spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know because of anything that Booch has texted me or anything he's tweeted or Facebooked or Friendstered or any of those social platforms. I think I know because I am about to go on a tirade once we get to a certain match down the line here. But I think I know where you're going. Yes, continue. Sorry, I had to throw
Well,
that in because I feel like I probably share your sentiment.
would you like to take the guess right now?
Yeah, Rousey, Shotzi.
Wrong.
Oh, well, that's mine. I can't wait to hear yours. Go ahead, continue.
It was this one that we're talking about right now.
Oh,
This was this in my opinion, and I'll tell you why. There were the majority of the high spots, with the exception of maybe one or two, were unnecessary. And I thought there was too many weapons being used in the war games. I thought it was way overdone. First of all, it's a pet peeve I've mentioned many times before, but I have to mention it again. Why the ladders were unnecessary. There was no logical reason anyone can give me for why we needed ladders inside the cage. That was my biggest issue right there. And of course, once again, we're having issues with tables where the heels keep pulling out the tables. And the reason it bothers me is because psychology is very important in wrestling. And it is something that a lot of wrestlers today seem to keep throwing out the window. Is if the crowd wants something, if they're chanting, we want tables, if they're chanting, we want kendo sticks, if they're chanting, we want to see a moonsault, whatever the crowd says they want, the baby face, the good guy team or good girl team, whatever you want to call it, their job is to give the audience what they want. The heel's job is to deny the audience what they want or find a way to take it away from them. That is how a match is supposed to be structured. So if the crowd is chanting, we want tables, the baby faces should be the ones bringing in the tables. If they're going to bring in weapons at all, have them pull the table out so they get the pop. Then, and let's say someone wants to set up a table, have the heel kick the table out of the ring. Or you know what? Or they set the table up and it looks like they're going to lean it against the wall or lean against, not the wall, but the turnbuckle. And then instead, just throw it out of the ring. Nah, I don't need a table. Crowd gets mad, which is what you want. The wrestlers are so obsessed with being loved that they're messing up their job. If you're a bad guy, no one's supposed to love you. Why? Because you're a bad person. You're not supposed to like somebody who's a bad person. That's why they're bad. And I get, and if I still had hair, I'd be ripping it out of my head. In fact, here's a secret. You want to know how I went bald? From watching a lot of modern wrestling and doing this. What is wrong with you? That's how I lost my hair. So anyway, other than that, there were some great moments like Nikki Cross just sitting there. It fit her. She had a good high spot because it fit the gimmick. She's crazy. She wants to watch and then eventually dive on everybody. Obviously, Becky Lynch with the leg drop through the table. It worked. Why? Because they're laying on the table. She's coming off the top. The moonsault from Io Sky didn't need it. If she's going to do a moonsault, have somebody laying down. I hate moonsaults with a person standing right up. And if you're going to do the moonsault, at least be laying down on something. I would have preferred the moonsault through a table. Would have been epic. Or if you're going to do it at all. But I felt like...
But see, Booch, you're getting in the weeds with this. Because this is why I don't want to get into the spots and the moves. Because people are trying to remember and they don't remember it. Because it was a match. And they're like, when you're watching, you're like, oh, that was great. I'm just talking about like the flow of the match was great. Like they told the story. We talk about that all the time. It was a back and forth Rocky Apollo melee. Like this was... And it just kind of tips the hand of WWE, perhaps, or is this a sway because it's not a title match, right? Like Bianca Belair can win this match, and it's Becky Lynch, her return match. it's great she got the pinfall.
Yes.
I mean, she had the most glam in this match. And it was interesting that Bailey did not take the pinfall here. I kind of wanted to see the leader take the pinfall so she can bounce back the strongest. It was Dakota Kai that took the pinfall, correct?
Yes, I believe it was Dakota and Io were both on the table, but she pinned Dakota. And I feel like Bailey's lost so many times to Bianca, the pin would have killed her. But I would agree with you. I would agree with you. But in this case, I felt like Bailey's taken too many L's to get pinned in this match.
But take an L to Becky Lynch because that sets up a future match between those two. That would be cool.
I can see that.
I'm thinking 2-3 pay-per-views ahead, depending on how they handle this women's division on Raw, because Booch, the SmackDown women's division, I have something to say. I feel some kind of way, as the kids would say. We're going to get to that right after this next match. AJ Styles, of course, with the OC in tow, defeating Finn Balor. Booch, I believe you got the point in this match.
We both did. We both picked AJ.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is both of us,
tricked myself there. I tricked the Wen's tricking himself. I feel like I should have in the moment picked Finn Balor, but I'm glad that I went with AJ Styles there.
Yeah, I'd have a belt on my shoulder right now had you picked Finn.
You know, hey, better to be lucky than good, as they say.
Oh, it's absolutely. This
and for those of you wondering, hey, how many has Wen's won in a row? That's 3. It's a 3-peat, like MJ, baby. I'm like the GOAT, not LeBron. LeBron's not the GOAT. Let's just settle that debate right now.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
But as far as it was, back to the WWE and pivoting from the NBA now, the show's all over the place, off the rails, Booch. I rewatched this match because there was a lot that I forgot about this match. It was a good wrestling match, and it makes you like wonder, you know, they had such like really good chemistry and they worked really well together. Up until this point, they only faced off one time in singles competition.
Yes.
And that was years ago. And so this was kind of a cool match to watch and see how them work together. And the match itself was great. It was a really long match, almost 20 minutes. So, and to me, it was like, even if I had lost, I would have thought I had won because I thought I'd lost the point. But the point behind the point is this match satisfied me as a fan because I felt like the action in the match and the story they told, and it was just back and forth, and it could have gone either way, like so many times. Yes. And you never know what's going to happen with JD Judgment Day. We'll say that for, save time here. Now that I have to explain it, I just wasted 3 more seconds. And the OC, you don't know how they're gonna pan out, what's gonna happen with that running interference. But I love this match. It was great. Not my favorite match of the night, but it was up there. Booch, what are your comments on this one?
Loved it. I love this match so much. Somebody was trying to tell me they had a hard time following the War Games match. I disagree completely with that statement. They not only followed it, they did better. They wrestled. This was how wrestling is done. Yeah, they did some crazy stuff, but everything was timed. Everything was believable. It was fluidity. And the fact they know each other so well makes that easier for them to be able to work stuff out like that. But the match itself was balls to the wall. They had the interference timed perfectly because it was a second match. We didn't, obviously Mia Yim and Rhea Ripley weren't there because they're licking their wounds from the War Games. So they obviously weren't going to be involved in this match. Made it even better.
Real quick, can I run interference on that?
Go ahead.
That was part of my prediction. I was like, oh, we're definitely going to see Rhea Ripley and Mia Yim get into it. And it never happened. And I'm like, crap, because when you make your predictions, you don't know the order of the matches. Like, we make predictions, but we don't know how they're going to.
Exactly.
So we're making these predictions. So with that in mind, that can kind of throw you off, but it didn't throw AJ Styles off. And it was kind of cool because God knows I'm so sick and freaking tired of the Judgment Day interference. OC interference, they're kind of fresh and I'm not really bothered by it. But generally speaking, any interference that alters the outcome of a match, even though this wasn't a championship match, it still kind of irks me a tad, but continue.
Yeah, I was more upset with the Rhea Ripley interference than the interference in general. So the fact that Rhea wasn't there made the match watchable. So and here's the thing. I'm not saying I hate Rhea Ripley. I love Rhea Ripley. I mean, as a wrestler, she's great. She looks incredible. I'm trying to clean it up for When's World. But so to not see her in this match was way better, because it was like, okay, sometimes Damian and Dominic would interfere. I'll take that because you got Gallows and Anderson to even things up. So I was fine with that. It was the Rhea interfering or the Mia interfering. I didn't need all that. So to see these work so well, and AJ finally gets the win that he needed, because he needed this win desperately, and it doesn't hurt the Judgment Day because they've been so dominant, and it can allow them to move on to another feud, move on to something else if they want to, or if it continues, it can continue a different way. So to me, this was a great, amazing match. Both men did well, had you on the edge of your seat, and were able to follow the War Games, because they're, and I think that's probably why they put them on second, because what are we going to get to follow this match that's that damn good? AJ Styles and Finn Balor. No disrespect to the other matches on the card. Obviously, the men's War Games is going to main event, but AJ and Finn were the only ones that could realistically follow a War Games match.
Well, it's kind of a weird dynamic for the creative team, right? Because you only have 5 matches.
Yeah.
You're going to start with one. You got to start with a great one. And then you know what your main event's going to be. And both of those matches are the same exact match, the War Games match. So you're like, what do we do, right? There was only one other match that I felt could have rivaled this, in my humble opinion. But we'll get to that. But this next match, Booch, this was okay. I need to take a sip of something strong here.
Go ahead.
Ugh, that's just ginger ale. Can I get something strong, please? Please, thank you. Okay, Ronda Rousey has been in the WWE for almost 4 years? Since 2018. Since WrestleMania of 2018. Is that correct?
Yes, because WrestleMania 34 was her debut match. She teamed with Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie.
With the encyclopedia's insight there, is it redunculous to assert that somebody who joined the WWE, who has access to everything at the Performance Center, to top of the line everything, training, the ability to watch tape, to talk to veterans, to really get insight on how to do it, right? How to really commit to this, because God knows that Ronda Rousey committed to MMA. She was a UFC, like it's hard to debate that she was one of the best, if not, I would say one of the few best of all time women, right? And people would argue, I don't want to get into that, but she's up there. What irks me, Booch, is that we're into this Ronda Rousey. I don't give a damn about my own reputation. All right, badass. Yeah, your Piper's Pit, all right. She's got guts. She's gusto, leather jacket, everything. She's like the next. Okay, great. Right, here comes Ronda, the Ronda that we know and love. The intensity, you brought up Kurt Angle, the integrity, the intelligence. She knows how to fight, right? She knows how to win the right way when the time comes. The smarts. I don't get it. Like, why am I only seeing 4 moves? I see an armbar, an ankle lock, a hip toss. Like, I understand she knows how to submit people. You don't have to prove that to me. I was so bothered by the fact that Shotzi's a better wrestler than Ronda Rousey. And you can please comment. Please comment and say you're an idiot, Wens. This is the most ridiculous, hottest take you've ever had, because it's not. Like, I watched that match. I watched it twice because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't seeing something that I wasn't seeing. And from the very beginning, of course, you're going to write in Shotzi gets off to a hot start. She takes out Shayna Baszler at ringside. Like, she didn't have any help. Her tank was off. It wasn't running in the ring, running people over. This is the thing that bothers me, Booch. It's like, here comes somebody who had to earn every single second in a ring, who's God knows what she's doing outside, watching tape, staying in the Performance Center, talking to people, like learning. And here you got this person who's had everything like ushered in Miss Rousey right this way. Here's your limousine to Stamford. Stephanie and Paul are waiting for you in the boardroom. Like, it just bothers me that I'm not seeing a level of commitment that, if she had, would show itself in the product. And this match was an absolute stinker. Stinker. Not because of Shotzi, but because of Ronda Rousey. And the fact that she is the champion moving forward, it's not impressive to anybody, because let me tell you, the people there in Boston weren't impressed. When she got her time, when she had her Hogan moment, when she got back up, she's like, "Oh yeah," look into the crowd. No validation. People were booing her. And I was thinking, like, this is crazy. Like, she should be light years ahead of where she is. Light years. And the fact that she is SmackDown Women's Champion at this point, given the performance that I saw over last weekend, I know I'm not alone. And if I am, I'll stand alone on this point. I don't care, because I know I'm right. It's a travesty. It's almost like you might as well make the WWE celebrity. You might as well have Snoop Dogg be champion. Because what? He's not a fighter. He's a rapper. She wasn't a WWE wrestler. She's a UFC fighter, and there's a huge difference. It's a different beast altogether. And that's why you don't see WWE wrestlers joining UFC after they get done wrestling. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I'm upset and I'm ticked off, because we deserve better. And as your champion here in Wins World, I am calling for better from the creative writers at WWE and Stanford. And I don't want to hear that Ronda Rousey deserves and has earned this. She hasn't earned. I had to censor that last one out. This is crazy. I'm done talking. I want to hear you, because I need a second.
Well, one thing I will contend, there's at least 2 wrestlers that went to UFC after WWE, and it's, of course, Brock Lesnar and CM Punk. Brock was successful, Punk was not. And
but Brock Lesnar was doing that. Like, he was
no. He was an amateur wrestler in college. He was a collegiate athlete, NCAA champion, all that. People forgot that about Brock, or a lot of people didn't know that about Brock because they didn't really follow WWE. So all they saw was a fake wrestler going in. Brock had to learn how to strike and do the other things that UFC people know how to do. But as far as amateur wrestling, college wrestling, he was there. That's why he was able to beat people that you never thought he would beat. Punk knew a little bit of martial arts, but not enough to really get anything started in UFC. That's why he got embarrassed.
Okay, so there's so there's an outlier to my point. Okay,
yeah,
I'll submit that Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I was just clarifying that. But also, I can also say this: you are not alone with your opinion, but I am completely alone with mine. That's all, and I'll say that because I enjoyed this match, and I'll tell you why I enjoyed this match. I am very aware that Ronda Rousey has a limited moveset. But my big thing has always been, you can have a limited moveset. It's about when you do, what you do, timing, and everything. I would rather have somebody with 4 moves that knows how to place them than a person with 100 moves that just jumps around the ring all the time. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. We've seen people back in the day that had maybe a couple of moves, but knew how to do them to get a reaction from the crowd. Now, the reason Ronda is getting the hatred that she's getting is because a lot of people don't like her because of her attitude, because of her personality, which I understand. And I know there's a lot of wrestlers I've heard. And plus, Sasha Banks has gone, who's not even in WWE anymore. I don't even know if she's coming back, has been saying disparaging things about Ronda because she was whining and complaining and basically doing the whole thing about, why am I not making the same amount of money that she's making? I put in the work. If I hear one more wrestler say the words, I put in the work, I'm going to vomit. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to vomit. Because here's the thing. You can be the hardest working guy or girl in the building. You could be a man or a woman of 1,000 holds. You can know every move, every trick, put on every 5-star match on the possible. But here are the facts. If no one's paying to see you, it don't matter how good you are. That's in wrestling. That's in comedy. That's in music. That's in anything. And here are the facts. Ronda Rousey brings in money. That's why she's in the spot that she's in. Regardless of how she does in the ring, regardless of anything else, if you put Ronda's name on a poster, that's going to motivate somebody to get up off their comfy couch, get into their car, drive miles, hours out of their way to the nearest wrestling building, which is a major thing with gas prices being high. Thank you, Sleepy Joe. Then you got to park your car and pay money to park your car. Besides, anybody that's gone to the State Farm Arena or the Mercedes-Benz Stadium for shows,
it's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare to park your car. And it costs you amount of money. Then you got to buy a ticket, which is even more money out of your pocket. Then you got to go to the concession stand. Depending on where you go, you're either getting state-of-the-art food or you're getting a hot dog that's older than the legend signing autographs at the gimmick table. And you're going into the building. You're sitting in a chair that's uncomfortable. And if you're not with your friends, you're surrounded by people you don't even know. That you're either going to make a new friend or you're going to go, God, I hate everybody next to me. You don't know what you're going to get. And to watch that person. So the question is, when people see Sasha Banks' name on a poster, if you see Shotzi's name on a poster, if you see Liv Morgan's name on a poster, is that going to motivate you to do that? Are people actually going to tell me that you got up out of your? Let me finish, then you can say whatever you want. If that's not motivating you to get up out of your chair and do all those things to see the show, then no, you don't deserve the same amount of money as Ronda Rousey. I don't care how much time you spend in the Performance Center. You want Ronda Rousey money? You want Ronda Rousey recognition? Draw some money. Becky Lynch is a prime example of that. She became the most over woman in the company. That's how she got the spot that she's in, because the crowd did not deny her. And I'm going to be honest, women wrestlers, it is next to impossible for a woman to get to that top spot in wrestling. And people can say there's sexism or whatever. That might be a portion of the problem, but also because in wrestling, the guys have always drawn more money. Don't believe me? WWE, here's my encyclopedia coming in. WWE had an all-women's pay-per-view. All women on the roster. The buy rates were down. Ticket sales were down. Nope. Everybody preached for women to have a pay-per-view, but yet none of them were willing to spend the money.
It's the same thing with women's sports. It's
exactly.
It's the same. We're getting off the beaten path, and plus dinner's almost ready. So
I had to get that off my chest. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the match because of the psychology and the way they timed everything and everything else. But I do now. Does Ronda need a lot of work? I agree. I think I don't think it's her in-ring skills that need to work. I think her attitude needs to change.
What about her in-ring skills don't need to improve? Like I don't see anything. Like it's the same woman that I saw 3 years ago, 4 years. Like I don't see any improvement. Like if anything, Shotzi helped her. I know that sounds kind of like a tepid take, but it's not. Like there were several instances in that match where I was like, oh, Shotzi saved her on that.
Oh no, there was an instance where Ronda had to save herself because Shotzi would have broke her neck.
Oh, with that whole slam from the top, she totally botched that.
Yeah, Shotzi botched that because Ronda grabbed that rope and people thought, oh, Ronda didn't take the hit. No, because Shotzi, the way she sloppily did that, if Ronda had gone down with her, she'd have a broken neck right now. She had to save herself. Because Shotzi, I'm sorry, I love her character, but she is sloppier than my handwriting.
Sure, okay. I will submit that she, isn't in some ways ready for that moment, but we've also seen great wrestlers almost botch moves. So
true.
To make it about, oh, well, she almost botched a move. Oh, that disqualifies her. That's not a fair statement. But what really irked me earlier was when you put Shotzi and Sasha Banks in the same sentence. Come on, man. Like, yes, people will go and pay money to see Sasha Banks in a match. I'd pay money to see it. I get what you're saying. I'm not denying what you're saying. It's true. Yeah. It just sucks. It sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah.
Moving forward, that's our take on Ronda Rousey. Work harder, dude.
Yeah.
do that. Like, just work harder. Like, do whatever it takes to make me think that you're a better wrestler come Royal Rumble, because you better be defending, you know? She better be defending. She better not be hiding in January. I want to see her in the ring. Austin Theory. A-Town down. Woo! Feels good. Boy, oh boy, what a win. And Booch, if I'm not mistaken, I made that prediction.
Yes. I should also clarify in the Ronda Shotzi match, I got the point because I picked Ronda, so that was a point to me. But
Yeah.
in this one,
We all lost, but you got the point. Go ahead.
yeah, Austin Theory not only got you the point, he saved your title. Because by this point, if either Seth or Bobby Lashley had won, I would have been the champion. Austin, you needed Theory more than you ever needed anyone in your life to win this match. So Austin, the fact that Austin, which shocked everybody, incredible match. I love the finish. I thought was phenomenal. That was a genius way to do it.
So good.
And it's one of the few triple threat matches I love. I normally don't like triple threat matches because everything's disorganized and there's no DQs. So it's an excuse. They didn't need weapons. They didn't need any too much cheating didn't happen. I mean, there's a little bit, there's heels in there, but overall it was phenomenal. Everyone knew exactly what to do. Seth was great. Bobby was great. Theory was great. This is the best match Theory has had thus far.
That's why it was my favorite match of the whole night. Like, this was the match that did it for me. Like, when I saw this match, I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I thought Rollins, I was like, oh, Booch is going to win this point. Rollins is going to win this match. Because I knew Lashley wasn't going to win this match. He was out.
Yeah.
But the way they swerved this at the very end, you think Rollins knocks him out of the ring. He's out of the picture. And then he just comes back in and gets the win. And it was a huge win for me. I agree with everything you said about the match. Like, it brought it every bit. That's why it was my favorite match of the night. So congratulations to the youngest ever United States champion becoming the United States champion again here.
Yes.
Big ups to Austin Theory, man. Big fan.
Yeah.
And he got some resistance. He got some heat Monday night. I don't know if you want to get into that with Seth Rollins.
It was great.
I love it. I love this. This little battle they have going on. This is great.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, Seth calling him kid and Austin getting mad. Like, it's
not your kid.
It was great.
I love how it wasn't into the microphone and they had, and see, that's what Triple H is bringing into the story. Like, that's not what they were doing before. Like, these little subtleties, you can tell there's a difference. I don't know if it's him or the people he's hired, but that's whoever that you hire people who are better at stuff than you are. That's why you hire people. Whoever is calling the shots are doing the right things because they made me lean in. I was like, what do you say? I'm not your kid. That was great Monday night. So that was cool. But we'll get into Raw if we have time. I don't know if I'll have time on this show, but the Bloodline, new member, Sammy Uso. What an awesome thing that's going on. Booch, I'll be the first one to admit I was very skeptical about all this Sami Zayn, bloodless honorary Us. Like, it's just stupid. It was stupid. I was like, they're gonna give up on this 3 weeks and it'll be something that they gave up on. Everybody will be like, oh, another thing that WWE blew. But they made it work. And not only, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but you tell me, everybody, you comment on this video, tell me what you think. I loved it. You had the moment before the match. He was talking. Wait, Jay saw him talking to somebody. Who was it? Oh, it's Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Wait, they're like brothers. They've done a lot of business in the past. They've driven to events together. They've known each other for like 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
20 years for people like me who are not good with math or matches. But when I saw the haluva kick, and I was just like, holy cow. Like, I thought the turn was happening. Like, I thought this whole thing was going to disband that night, but it didn't. It solidified. And it was a moment. It was like an actual moment. And I believed it. Like, hook, line, sinker, Roman Reigns, his acting level, has gone from like, like a C actor, like I don't know, Tom Cruise, to an A actor like The Miz, an A-lister. Bravo to the Bloodline. Bravo to Kevin Owens, because he is the perfect nemesis in this situation. He's the perfect little defector, the perfect little gnat in your ear, buzzing around you. And I saw something from Kevin Owens on Monday night that was just like I've never ever seen. And that was a Kevin Owens where it wasn't the KO show, wasn't the bravado Kevin Owens. It was a soft spoken, like, hey man, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to talk to you. I'm done with you. I've never heard him say that. And it was like weird. It was like, it was like, wait a minute, is this like beyond like outside the ring kind of stuff here? It almost made me think, I don't know. I mean, that's the way I want to be. I don't want to know. Like, I want to live in that limbo. And that's the beauty of wrestling, right? That's why it's the male soap opera,
Yeah.
because guys aren't going to talk. I just don't want to be, I don't even want to fight you, bro. I just don't even want to talk to you. Like, you could just go away kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we're dealing with here. And we're also dealing with a vulnerable Bloodline, because Kevin Owens got the dub on Monday night, and it wasn't easy. There was a lot of interference, and this sets up a beautiful, like, next few months of storyline. I don't know how they're going to play this out, but I'm excited about it. I'm actually excited about this. And that's, Booch, you can validate this. I'm not generally super excited about anything involving Roman Reigns or the Bloodline or what they do or say, what the wise man says about the Bloodline. But right now, I want to know what's going to happen with Sammy Uso. And he's an Uso now. He's Sammy Uso. And I wonder, teaser, how they're going to work this in for April, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to have their match. And I feel like something's going to happen with Jimmy and Jay and Sammy. And I don't know how they're going to work it, but it's going to be fun to see how they pan it out. Booch, we're running out of time. Your thoughts on this match, and then I want to get to WrestleCade.
This was great. I thought the intensity was great. The back and forth was amazing in this match. The chemistry that everyone had was great. So that's why I enjoyed this match so much. If I had to have one quirk, I didn't like the fact that the baby faces had the one-man advantage in War Games, because I mentioned before that messes up the psychology a little bit. It's better for the heels to have the 2-on-1 advantage or the one-man advantage to get their heat, and then the babyface can make a comeback. It just tells a better story. And then you wait till everyone's in, then you can have the free-for-all and do whatever you want. But if I put that to the side, they did well with this match. And the Sammy story, of course, is amazing. Finally Sammy gets accepted. Like, Roman hugs him, but it's like, yeah, whatever. When Jey Uso hugged him, the place exploded, because that's the one time, like, all right, I'm a believer now. Sammy's in the Bloodline.
Well, not only that, but what about the handshake with Jimmy?
That was great too.
That was dope. It
dope.
was beyond that was like a dugout handshake, like a 12 mover, like Bryce Harper, like he has his own handshake with everybody kind of thing.
Yeah. So they were like, it's all right, Sammy, you're now one of us. You've made your point. And it was great for Kevin to come out and do that on Raw, because here's the thing. We've seen these guys wrestle over and over again. And also Kevin even admitted he's in no position to be mad at Sammy for stabbing him in the back, because here's a little history lesson. When Kevin Owens first debuted in WWE, he was in NXT. This is back when Sami Zayn and Neville were feuding against each other. Yeah. The same Neville who came to the main roster, was Cruiserweight champion, then became the Bastard Pac in AEW. That same guy. Sami Zayn beat Adrian Neville. He was Adrian Neville at the time. And he became the NXT champion. When Sami Zayn won the NXT title, it was one of the biggest moments in NXT history. That was the guy that everyone was waiting to get that belt, because Sami Zayn has always been great. Always. Then Kevin Owens shows up The night he won the title, Kevin Owens had a debut match. I can't remember who it was against. I think it was Tyler Breeze. After the match, Kevin comes out, hugs Sammy because they have a history together, going all the way back to Ring of Honor and Japan and everything else. And then Kevin turned on Sammy that night. And then a few weeks later, there was another takeover event, and Kevin Owens beat Sami Zayn and won the NXT title. So Sammy didn't get a long reign. And Kevin ended up going on with the belt for a long time, and a lot of NXT fans were pissed, not happy about it. But it's what happened. So because of that, Kevin realizes, all right, I deserve it. But he says, I'm done. I don't want to fight him anymore. And it's good because no one wants to see Kevin and Sammy wrestle again. We don't want to see it. Been there, done that, smoked it, humped it, called it an Uber. It's done. It's done. Okay? It would not make any sense to do that. So I like the fact that Kevin's moving on. He basically wants the bloodline. He basically wants the Usos. And what made this great was kind of how Wen said he thought this thing was going to phase out. It was supposed to. This was supposed to be a brief thing with Sammy, get a couple laughs, have something interesting, kick Sammy out and move on. But the fans have embraced it so much, and Sammy has done everything in his power to make this work, that Triple H was like, we've struck gold. We're going to run with it because the fans are buying into it. And Kevin Owens even said what he loves most about it is people are now starting to recognize how great Sami Zayn is. So that's why this still is still going on, because the fans loved it. People love when Sammy makes everyone break character in the ring. When the whole Usi thing, which has gotten completely over, he just hasn't been very Usi. And you just see them all going, they're covering their mouths, trying not to laugh.
It's got to be incredibly difficult, especially for Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he's probably like the jolliest Joker of all of them, right? Like cutting up in the back, just like, because he has a daughter. Like you have to be very like, he probably has tea parties. Like they did ads like a couple years ago for like dads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I have 2 boys, so I don't know what it's like to be a girl dad, but I imagine it's very cute and like very humbling because like it gives you an all new respect for the opposite sex.
Exactly.
But with this, it's really interesting because you kind of wonder, like you said, it started out as an ironic gimmick that they were going to abandon. And like much like Sweet Child of Mine, it became a smash hit and a claim to fame. And unapologetically, they should own it. Like ride it till the wheels fall off. I don't know, because the thing about it is, how do you navigate now that we know, thank God, we're not going to see a fight, like you said, between KO and Sami Zayn. We've seen it, done it, all the things you said with the Uber and all that, or Lyft, or, whatever's cheaper, depending on the time of day, your part of town. But it's great because they've already said we're not going to see it. And we're like, oh, thank goodness. Great. Now what? And now we know what. It's going to be Kevin Owens versus the Usos. Now the question looms, how much is Sami Zayn going to get involved? And when he stays out of the match, is his allegiance going to be called into question? Because when Jimmy loses against Sami Zayn, because they're going to book that match, Jay Uso. Wait, who did he fought Jimmy? Was it Jimmy or Jay?
He fought Jay on Raw.
Yeah. So when like I said, when he fights Jimmy Uso, it'll be like Sami Zayn stays out of it. And, Jay will be like, yo, why don't you help? Somehow Jay will be incapacitated. Something will happen to make it so where he can't help out. Roman Reigns won't be there, right? Because it's Raw. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out when Sami Zayn stays out. And if they're smart, they play into the psychology, the nonverbal cues that he gives off. There's a lot of things they can do with this, is what I mean to say. And you're right. Like the psychology in this is huge because there's a history. There's a lot at play here. And we all kind of think we know what's going to happen at WrestleMania with Roman Reigns. So we're kind of all wondering, how is each member of the bloodline going to play into this? And now we have to consider, is Sami Zayn going to somehow play into the Rock situation? And how? Like, is Kevin Owens going to play into this somehow?
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is going to be a feud that's ongoing with the Bloodline and KO. But we're gonna have to wait and see. It's a beautiful thing because they have something that's working, even if it's unintentional. Like ride it, rock it, cool, let's do it. But Booch, we're almost at the end of the show. But before we get to our have a nice day and bang bang, I want to give you time to talk about who had them digits and who was giving you the ringy ring.
All right. Well, the Monday before the week of Survivor Series, I'm in the studio editing a podcast, getting things ready. I just done some few interviews. Next thing I know, my phone rings. I'm looking at this like, I don't recognize this number. I don't know what's going on. I answer the phone. I hear, "Hey, buddy," and I'm like, and I'm like, I realize it's Buff Bagwell. Hadn't heard from him in 3 months. We kind of taken a break from each other. Won't go into reasons why. But he called me out of the blue and just said, "Hey, he had somebody he was working with. He's no longer working with that person, thank God. And he told me that he was going to WrestleCade, which, for those of you may not know, is one of the biggest wrestling conventions on the planet. The top two are WrestleCon and WrestleCade. WrestleCon always happens during WrestleMania weekend. WrestleCade happens Thanksgiving weekend, usually the day after Thanksgiving. So he asked me if I was interested in being part of WrestleCade. I said, sure, awesome. So I agreed to go. So because my parents were out of town, I spent Thanksgiving with him and his niece. So we all had Thanksgiving dinner, had a good time. Then we went to the accountability crib, because that's where he's staying right now. Then we got up and we went to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which WWE fans know that is where the majority of their pay-per-views were done, was in Winston-Salem. Like 80% of their pay-per-views are shot in Winston-Salem. That's one of the main. They go to Winston-Salem, they go to Norfolk, Virginia, they do Atlanta, Georgia. They hit a lot of the Southeast back then. So we go to Winston-Salem. It's this big convention. A lot of big legends are there. Steiner brothers were there. Cowboy James Storm. We were right across from The Godfather.
If you hear me, all my freaks.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we were right across from The Godfather, who was Papa Shango one night and Godfather the next, which I thought was brilliant, by the way. You got two gimmicks, do one night, do another next night. That way people come to your table. I'm surprised Mick Foley hasn't thought of that, who was also there. It's like he got Dude Love, Mankind, Cactus Jack. He make a killing all 3 days. So I love that was great. So we go through the whole experience, and now since then we've been back and we're talking about potentially working together again. So I didn't know if WrestleCade was going to be a one-off or we're going to work together again, but right now we're talking about it. So hopefully Buff and I will be teaming up again. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, you got to keep us posted on all those updates. And Buff's such a good guy, man.
He is.
We're cheering for him, rooting for him.
90 plus days clean. That's the best part. 90 plus days clean.
That's amazing.
Great.
That's great. That's awesome. You know what else is amazing is the fact that you have before you, ladies and gentlemen, a three-peat champion here, and that will continue into January. We got a lot of holidays, celebrations here, but just know I'm thinking of you, and I'm so appreciative of everybody. We're definitely going to get together before Royal Rumble. We'll make our picks. Booch, I think we should do maybe an early January, because Rumble is later into January. So we'll do a show before then. But we'll never, ever leave without a couple key things, one of which is have a nice day.
The other is bang, bang.